It's 10 o'clock, and this is Fox 10 Talks. Good morning, everybody. We are going to be talking politics today with the man who wants to be your next governor. We have plenty to talk about this morning, that's for sure. Let me roll out our poll question, as we always do. A Democrat just won in a Texas district that went big for Donald Trump. Is this a sign of a big blue wave coming? Only 26% of you say yes. People are fed up with Trump and his policies. 73% say no. Voters don't want to return to the Democrats in charge. And your third option, it all depends on how the next 9 months go. And you can grab that QR code and join the conversation. Hey, look at this. Celeste is already here in the studio.
Yeah, I was actually surprised, Ron, that I got here before you did.
Was your limo driver like idling just outside the studio to get you over here this quick?
I don't know what limo driver you're talking about. Hugh, did you come in a limo driver limo this morning? Hugh Lytle here with us this morning, running as an independent for governor for Arizona. Thank you for coming in.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We were chatting a moment ago, and I think the mics may have even been hot. So if you're watching on YouTube, hello to our YouTube family and people there as well. So throw some questions in there for Hugh if you would like, and we can definitely ask those questions for you. But Hugh, we were just speaking a moment ago. You're from Indiana?
Indiana originally.
Yes. How long have you been in Arizona?
About 30 years now.
Okay, 30. Yeah. Oh, you're practically a native then, Ron.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We would love to spend 10 minutes talking about the Hoosiers.
Hey,
you can tell us about that.
How about that? I remember when I was growing up, when I was in high school, we won 3 state championships in a row. And so Indiana would have been the natural place you'd go if they weren't a Bobby Knight basketball school and football was irrelevant. Yeah. And that went on, obviously, for decades.
Yeah.
And then this year, how exciting is that?
I know.
I mean, I'm just happy for everybody in that state. Amazing people. And, what a turnaround. It's remarkable.
Yeah. I believe that you were involved in athletics.
I was.
Tell us how that has sort of shaped your personality as you've gone into business and now, as you hope, politics.
Yeah, I had a little stint. I came out here to ASU to be a quarterback. I ended up being a walk-on and really just a practice guy till I got hurt. But, what it did is it got me to Arizona. And I just fell in love with the state. Mm-hmm. I went back to Indiana for some years, and I kept getting my Arizona Highways magazine, which is unusual for a 20-something-year-old guy to have a, Arizona Highways magazine. But I was like, is that state beautiful? Everybody that's here, I think, knows how the state can touch them in a deep way. And so I'm like, I got to get back out to Arizona.
Yeah,
and
we're good friends with the editor of Arizona Highways, too, so I'm sure he loved the plug.
Oh, no kidding.
We like to call that a deep tease around here. So what did athletics, teach you about business and kind of growth and working in a team environment?
Yeah. So, athletics, almost, I could argue any extracurricular activity, let's just say athletics in particular, they create a team. It just forces collaboration. I like to tell people that I learned everything I ever know about leadership in the huddle. Mm-hmm. You have 10 other guys in that huddle, all with different mindsets and position responsibilities, et cetera. And you got to lead them down the field and do something different. And so what I believe it does is it just creates discipline. It creates critical thinking, especially in a quarterback. You've got to think in very, very quick time and make decisions.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Let's move from your time at ASU into your time in the business world and how that informs what you want to do as governor.
Absolutely. So I would call it the family business is healthcare. So my father was a single father, raised us. People think I'm a rich guy that just was given money to me, but my father didn't make his money till I was out of high school, but he built, restructured and built Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, the second largest insurer in the country, now called Elevance. And so I grew up knowing what managed care was at 7 years old. So when it came time for my career, I really had to think deep about, okay, what path would I want to take? Well, I had a built-in mentor right there to help me kind of shape my career. So I moved out to Arizona to work for what is now CVS Health, or Pharmacy and Benefit Manager, because it's an amazing division of stakeholders. Healthcare is all about stakeholder management. Everybody's got a hand in something different, and that's what I did. Was I learned the business there, and then we went on to build. I worked with my father in the first 2 companies. We said, if we're going to do something together, he retired from Anthem. What we want to build? And so we said, look, they need to have a strong social conscience. Okay, they got to be doing good for people, which is a great thing about healthcare if you work in it on the care side that we work on. It also needs to create systemic change. They need to be innovative. They need to change the system somehow. So we built 3 businesses. One first around prevention and wellness. Acquired an amazing company here in Tempe, Arizona called Silver Sneakers, which millions of seniors get up every morning and we grew. Yeah, we grew a prevention and wellness business in the early 2000s that it wasn't even in the lexicon. People didn't talk about wellness, and we built that into something that health plans could offer as a benefit. The second business was around post-acute care, helping mom and dad stay at home and independent for as long as they can. Home health, durable medical equipment, home infusion therapy. And then the third that I'm better known for, my father said, okay, that's enough. And I built on my own from really a kitchen table startup was a company called Equality Health, which people know more probably in Arizona, which was focused on diverse and underserved communities, primarily Medicaid, but bringing a culturally competent care model. We had 9% of the physicians that were Latino, serving 17% of the population, growing to 31% of the population. So I'm like, there's a huge cultural divide here that ends up in lack of quality of care and lack of engagement. So we built that up.
What is it about? I think healthcare obviously is one of those things that are on the minds of all Americans. But let's talk specifically about Arizona. What would you look at doing with our healthcare system in Arizona, and in order to kind of serve the needs of the people here?
Absolutely. One of the hard things about healthcare is it's so federally driven. It's not a ton you can do, but what you can do at the state, and particularly I think it's relevant for Arizona, is I would look at our Medicaid system and modernize our Medicaid system. So the business I had not only improved the quality of care for Medicaid recipients, but it also did it at a significantly reduced cost. We lowered cost in Medicaid, 5% and north of that at times over a 5-year period, which is hundreds of millions, if not billions, to state Medicaid budgets. And we only managed to call it 20% of the Medicaid members. If you had all of them, it would be a significant saving. So I'd modernize our Medicaid program to be, and payment reform. I would focus on technology and licensure of our, and behavioral health. We also need to really up our behavioral health. That's our number 2 cost item in the Medicaid population.
How do you do all this, though, without raising taxes? It sounds expensive.
Well, again, I think what I was saying before is my ability to lower cost and just do it off the savings. So what the payment model that we brought forth is called value-based care. Value-based care pays for an outcome. Did the patient get better or not versus an individual fee for service. Okay. So instead of a unit of service, which is what causes our escalating prices and costs, I would take the savings and I would reinvest those back into programs at lower cost.
Was there a light bulb moment for you where you said, look, politics isn't my thing, but I got to run for governor?
Well, no, I was not politically ambitious. So this was something that, look, I realize that we have just really a changing political reality in front of us. Okay, we have the division has never been higher, right? The extremes have never been further. The divide's so bad that it's causing neighbor to hate neighbor. And I've been telling my kids for years that needs to change. And so when Paul Johnson, former mayor, came to me and said, hey, I know you're an independent. We'd like you to consider running for governor under our platform. I said, no, I don't think that's I don't know if I can do that. But then I started going back and inventorying my background, my success, my leadership ability. And I said, you know what? Kind of the John F. Kennedy, if not us, who, if not when, or would not now when. And
to read a quick comment here that we have from some of our folks on YouTube, Thomas Brown 7820 says people need to move away from attaching themselves to one party and vote for the best candidate for the position. Do your homework and stop letting someone speak for you. It has been very difficult, I think, for a lot of independents to win. How do you hope to change that?
Well, a couple things. I mean, first of all, we did some polling, of course, right before I run. If you're going to run, you want to think you can win, right? I'm putting put a lot of my own personal money at stake to be able to do that. So, but I believe that much, and I think there's never been a greater time for this. I think we've got such polarization that. If you look at the candidate mix and who's in there, I'm someone who's a disruptor, a proven disruptor, an innovator. I'm optimistic. I believe our best days are in front of us. I'm a change maker who's done that before, and I'm a bridge builder, which I think is exactly what we need right now. And that's where I'm coming at it from, is I really think that we have mathematically, we can make this happen. Particularly the shakeout of on how the primaries go.
So you brought up math. Let's talk about schools. Yeah. We don't have to talk about math in school.
Are we doing calculus here this morning? What is happening?
This is a no calculus zone. But let's talk about education. So the ESA program has, I think Superintendent Horn told us, close to 100,000 families.
More than
100,000.
Yeah.
And yet you hear some people talking about cutting it back. What's your position on the ESA and on school choice in Arizona?
Well, I'm for choice, but call it maybe more conditional choice. I don't like how it's destroying our neighborhoods. Kids leaving their neighborhoods every day to go somewhere else. ESAs are clearly showing to be not accountable for the money. I would like to see them more means tested and going to the right people. And I'd actually like to cap the program and make sure that it's going to people who truly need it and not just being a supplement to, a private education.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on if someone says to you, well, my school's underperforming in my neighborhood, and they don't have the needs that I believe my child should receive?
About a minute left before the break. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so on that, I believe that we've got to return more local control to administrators, districts, and teachers. I think we got to take back control of the classroom. You'll hear me talk about more of a charter-inspired framework for that, not charter per se, but charter in the sense that we have aligned parents, we have an aligned curriculum, we focus on student outcomes, and I think there's a way to get that done that hasn't been done in some time. But right now, it looks like we're just going to kick the can, pass some Prop 123 without a plan, and I don't think that's an answer for Arizona education, which is a critical priority.
All right, Hugh.
So if you can stick with us for about 2 more minutes. Boy, we got a lot of news going on today. We are going to get to all of that, including the latest out of Tucson and the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mom. But first, the mystery cam. Celeste, look at this, would you?
It's snowing somewhere.
Yeah, in about 42 states.
Oh, goodness.
All right, we're looking for your guesses here. And let's see. Sherry Nevada Pup is pointing out that Punxsutawney Phil said we're going to get 6 more weeks of winter.
I know.
I don't know if that's a Pennsylvania guess. Probably could be. Oklahoma, Celeste, we're seeing some more action.
Well, and our poll on AZAM this morning, 6 more weeks of winter won. I think in the 74% of you said that. And I think for a lot of good reasons, because you're in Arizona and you want 6 more weeks of this beautiful weather.
There you go.
But if you're in places like this, you're thinking, goodness gracious, can we call it a day already? So Louis Gonzalez says Georgia. Paul Humphrey says Ohio. Darla Nichols says Alabama. And Linda Montard says Oklahoma. So we've got a North Carolina, which Be Kind Forever. I think you're onto something, because they've got snow even in Charlotte.
Oh, my God.
They shut down schools, I think, in Charlotte.
Those pictures from the airport?
I know. A big shout out here. If you're watching on Fox Local or on television here in Arizona and you'd like to join the chat, just go to YouTube and you can join the chat there. And we'd love to hear from you. And maybe if you're watching online, you can do that as well. And let us know where you're watching from.
What's your guess, Celeste?
I'm going to go with North Carolina.
Okay. I will go with, I'm trying to think where else they really got inundated. I guess I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Okay, Hugh, would you like to take a guess?
Georgia?
Georgia. Hugh
says Georgia.
Hugh is our guest here this morning. He
right.
says Georgia.
Okay.
Here is your answer. Baldwinsville, New York. I think they stumped all of us.
It looks south.
Wow. Yeah, it did.
Whew. Yeah, that's not just a little bit of snow there. Glad the guy had a snowblower out front for the driveway. All right, so we are continuing our conversation here for just the next couple of minutes with Hugh Lytle, who is independent. So I just wanted to ask you, as you well know, we have many prominent people who want to be our next governor. If you would, are there decisions that Governor Katie Hobbs has made that you would not have made?
You know, one of the main things that got me to run as an independent with the Arizona Independent Party and Paul Johnson was the fact that we're not negative campaigners. So you will not hear me say anything negative generally. I will say something maybe administratively and say that as an administration, I think Arizona's issues are like most states. We have issues. We can solve. I think Arizona is more of a story about lost opportunity. We have so much opportunity in this state, and we can't. What I get concerned about is if we have the same legislative makeup and mix, and the same incumbent governor, we could end up with a lost decade of things getting done for the state that I think are very, very important. So that's the only thing. That's my only concern, and something that really drove me as a challenger. But I respect all the public servants that are in the race today. Okay.
And one last question here, because we love this topic on the stream, is what is your favorite meal?
Yeah, we got to get some of that.
We love food around here, and I know everybody in the chat. We love talking food. Sure, but you're a real human. I mean, you're a political candidate. Where do you love to go to eat, and what's your favorite meal?
Well, I got to tell you, it is 100% Mexican food.
Okay, you're in a good state then.
Yes, exactly. And we were just at Poncho's on the south side, the Poncho's is right up there. It's got an amazing chimichanga that I put online, but it's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Go. Well, they're like my fifth cousin, by the way.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, Ponchos. Yeah, and they're part of that Sombreros family as well.
Yes.
Well, Hugh, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Best of luck.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, there is a story that has been breaking out of Tucson, and the sheriff just spoke out of Pima County in the last hour or so. Here's some of what got said. This is in the search for Savannah Guthrie's missing mother, Nancy Guthrie, which they are now calling her home a crime scene.
At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, hey, your mom's not here. The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us, so I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911. Well, I think I told you she is very limited in her mobility, right? We know she didn't just walk out of there. That we know. There are other things at the scene that indicate there was she did not leave on her own. We know that. Number one is public safety. Everybody just wants to be able to know that they can go outside and enjoy their community and come home and be safe at night in their rooms, asleep in bed. And this lady wasn't able to accomplish that. That's a sad statement. We need her back. We need to find her. And time is very critical. She is 84. She needs her meds. Her family needs her too.
Okay, so you can just imagine the heartbreak going on in this family. And, we also can show you that this is the flyer that is out there today. And they did bring in, here's Savannah Guthrie. By the way, she is not on the air today, as you can well imagine, with her show on NBC. But the Sheriff Celeste did point out that her mom, Nancy Guthrie, that there's no dementia or Alzheimer's or confusion or loss of memory. She is as sharp as a tack, he said.
Yeah.
The question is, what happened inside that home that is now prompting them to call this a crime scene? And by the way, Customs and Border Patrol is now on the case, as is the FBI.
Yeah, there was, it's really unfortunate that some of the authorities now are having to call this a homicide investigation. Pretty scary as well and frightening for the family. And I think for that whole Catalina Foothills area, that's where she lives. If you're familiar with the Tucson area, that's in the northeast part of Tucson, kind of in the foothills. And, I think they're hoping that somebody out there knows something and they can reach out to the authorities. You got to imagine with all the, I have a girlfriend, her parents lived up there in the Catalina Foothills. And so I've been up there many times. It's a lot of rolling hills and things like that. And so hopefully somebody has some cameras and, Ring cameras, Nest cameras outside their home and property or something like that. But it gets very, very dark. I believe it was 9:30 was the last time she was seen. Saturday night.
Right.
And then they reported her missing yesterday.
She didn't show up at church.
Yeah. Pretty heartbreaking.
And so people were getting concerned. So anyway, we will stay right on top of that story if additional information comes in or if any kind of discovery is made. So the other stories that we are going to want to talk about today have to do, Celeste, with, I think we all learned during the pandemic that we were shocked how reliant we are on other countries for all of our prescription drugs. From China to India, if they want to stop the flow, it can happen.
Yeah. How
are we not making our own prescription drugs, pharmaceuticals here? So the FDA says it is accepting applications for a pre-check program. The idea is to cut down the review process for drugs. They'll be selecting an initial group of pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities based here in the U.S. on their products and their innovation and try to encourage more of it to happen here so that we're not dependent on other countries.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting, and I wonder if it has to do with the cost of creating whatever the ingredients are in those prescriptions. Sure. A lot of times we find that it's unfortunately less expensive, but maybe it could be safer. If we did it, we'd have more oversight here in the United States.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, so we'll see how all of that goes. In the meantime, the big political story this morning is coming out of Texas. Where do we have, I think, this is the fellow right here. Okay, so this is Taylor Remmett, and there's been just a little bit of a political shockwave here because he was running for a congressional district, the 18th district in Texas, which they have so many members of Congress there. I have no idea. I had no idea.
18 districts.
Then I went and looked, and it's in the Fort Worth area.
Can you imagine if that was the case, Ron? You know how we've been having candidates for CD1 on?
Yeah.
You know how many people we'd have to have on the stream?
Yeah, we're going to cover all whatever they got there, 40 congressional districts in Texas. But anyway, he flipped now hold on. This is a state Senate seat in District 9. And so as a result, of all of this. It's one of those things where people are looking at it and saying, is this the beginning of a big blue wave? Let me pull up the poll question here. President Trump was asked about it this weekend, and he said, well, I wasn't on the ballot. But we do know he's going to feel as though he's on the ballot because he's going to campaign, according to the White House, like crazy in the coming months between now and November. So what do you think? 21% here. We'll get Dave and his comments in a moment. But 21% of people are saying, you know what? I do think it's a blue wave coming. People are fed up with President Trump and his policies. 77% are saying no, voters don't want to return to the Democrats in charge. That's 77% there. Your other option with the QR code is it really depends on how the next 9 months go. Now, before we get to Big D,
yes,
with your comments on both on YouTube, Celeste, what are you seeing?
the YouTube. All right, let's take a look at some of those numbers. We've got about 517 votes right now. We just need to refresh that. But here are the numbers. So, yes, people are fed up with Trump and his policies. 59% say that. No, voters don't want to return to the Democrats in charge. 24%. And it all depends on how the next 9 months go. 17% of the people voting right now, they say that. Ron, do you want to throw that QR code up one more time if we can?
You betcha.
If you are watching on television and you want to scan the QR code, you can also then, if you join us on YouTube, go to the very top of the chat box that you see here on your right on the television once you're online on your computer or phone, and we have a link to the YouTube poll. You can click on that link and you can vote there as well.
Here's Big D with some of your feedback. Dave, what do you see in front?
That's right, and these comments have come from fox10phoenix.com/poll as well as our YouTube poll. Mouse MX 1534 says the Democrats have spun their base up and they're motivated. The Republican voters are not, but I don't think a special runoff election in the state Senate is a sign of anything yet. And this is a great username. DeCoolBoy887 says last year 116,000 people voted for the GOP candidate. This year it was 40,000, and the Dem candidate got 54,000. Last year was 111,000. Still, it is surprising to see a Democrat switch a seat in Texas. Really interesting comments. Keep them up, everybody.
Okay, there you go with Big D with the feedback. And by the way, the other feedback we're seeing on YouTube is all about Mexican restaurants.
Oh, yeah, we're sharing them.
Linda is saying Manuel's, Macayos, and Serrano's.
Serrano's got the best bean dip in town.
And then Louie right next door in Pima says, but what about El Mesquite out there in the Gila Valley?
So great.
Yeah,
good discussion,
sure.
guys. We'll be right back after a quick break.
All right, everybody, welcome back. You have got it locked, we hope locked, on FTT, Fox 10 Talks. It's a chance for us to interact with you. And boy, Celeste, we are getting plenty of interaction today on YouTube.
Yes.
Man, oh man, the Mexican food talk, everybody's favorite restaurants, it just rolls on.
Well, after we asked our former guest about it, we got the conversation rolling on what's your best favorite Mexican food out there. So we love that you guys, El Rancho in Payson, says Burger Boy 25.
Yeah.
We now have a new guest here.
Correct.
TJ Shope, like hope with an S on the front.
That's correct, yes.
Joins us now in our streaming studio. Nice to see you.
You bet. You too.
Number one, what's your favorite Mexican restaurant?
Man, I used to represent the Globe Miami area, and as the locals call it, Miami. But the Burger House has got the best burritos, red and green chili. It's in right on the highway in Miami, and then probably Wyo's on the trail in Globe. But basically any place in that Globe Miami Copper Corridor areas.
Awesome.
But if you want good Mexican food, my family's been in the Sonora, Arizona region for forever. I only eat the Sonora. If I see black beans, it's just Arizonans tell of nope, that's not for me. It's got to be refried. So
yeah, it's got to be the pinto bean. Yeah.
Now you were, by the way, we were chatting in the break. You got into politics, I think probably at least in somewhat of a large measure because of your dad.
Yeah, you bet. So it's so funny because last Wednesday evening, my wife and I went to Arizona Charter School Association had their 30th anniversary of charter schools being around in Arizona, and Governor Symington was on the panel. And there's a photo of me at like 5 years old in Coolidge walking in a parade with my dad and then candidate Symington running for governor back in 1990. So it's kind of all comes a little bit full circle, I guess, in many ways.
Some of those old stories. I still remember covering John McCain in 1982 when he first ran for Congress in the old 1st Congressional District. Walked the district with him. Nobody even knew who he was.
Right.
So that was a long time ago. All right. So what was it that you, though, learned in watching your dad in the political world that made you say, this is fascinating to me and I think I'd be pretty good at it?
I don't know. I think that there was, I had a lot of fascination with the idea of just being kind of in the room whenever decisions or things are going on and et cetera. And obviously this, the roles that I've been on, some of them are, I think almost all of politics anymore is thankless in many ways, right? I mean, you had a governor candidate on here earlier talking about whatever his hopes and dreams are for that office. But there's a lot of good that comes out of it. There's, and unfortunately for most people, a lot of that good that comes out of it aren't the issues that you generally talk about that lead the news stories, right? It's a lot of the behind the scenes things. I have a bill on dementia care, for example, that's going to be heard this week that a lot of people care about, but it's not one of those sexy items that's going to dominate the news coverage of anything and get people pitted against each other to really get emotions flying high. But I guarantee you it's probably going to be more helpful to people in their everyday life than many of the things that we argue about on a regular basis.
You are a state lawmaker, and what have you heard from your constituents? What are some of the big topics that they care about right now and that you hope to kind of carry forward and that you hope to address?
Right. So I think there are any number of them. I represent a commuter county, so obviously out of Pinal County, transportation has long been one of them. I-10's being is under expansion right now, and we have highways on 347 out of Maricopa, for example. I graduated high school in 2003 from Coolidge. Maricopa wasn't even a city yet.
Yeah, so true.
Right?
How that
and now there's 70,000 people there. So then they all need a way to get to work. But obviously some of the other issues that dominate the day, whether they be immigration enforcement that's going on right now, one of the big ones as far as people start receiving their W-2s and things like that, tax conformity. Do I file my state taxes? Because we haven't finished the job there as far as the state on making sure that there's guidance. Some of those things are really, I'd say, the three top issues that I hear about pretty regularly.
Well, you did say that there are certain headlines that certainly grab people's attention, and the Senate passed a resolution regarding the Attorney General, Chris Mays. How would you characterize what she said and how it played at the legislature?
Yeah, I think that, and we've heard any number of regurgitations or descriptions about what, how I took it, and I think how the law enforcement community obviously took it, seeing as though it's not, FOP, the Law Enforcement Association, I think her own liaison with law enforcement who resigned, all took it was kind of a, hey, if somebody's at your door and you have an opportunity to use stand your ground because that is the law, and then you kind of
shoot them.
Yeah, and I think that's how most rational people probably took it, almost like a tacit endorsement, or I'm going to look the other way if this happens because stand your ground exists, which we all know. I was a part of some of the have been a part of the conversations of stand your ground over the 14 years I've been there, and that does not give a license to shoot law enforcement whatsoever.
Never with law enforcement.
And no, absolutely not. And any reasonable person would understand, hey, look, and especially in this day and age of Ring cameras and things like that, you can pretty much, and we've seen these things, you can pretty much have a conversation almost with somebody at your doorstep at this point in time, just using technology to get a better understanding of what somebody may be there for. So, I think that she really did not come across well at best. The governor has even, and obviously no ally of mine, the governor has even come out and said that, if you have to do that much explaining, basically, to say what your position was, you probably missed the target of what you were trying to say. So I think this is one of those moments in time where maybe a simple apology would have gone a long way, and it would have been the end of story. But that's not while that opportunity presented itself, that's not the avenue that was chosen to go down.
It's amazing how that actually, like a simple apology, as a mother of 3 teenagers, sometimes I'm like, can you just say you're sorry? Like, just apologize.
There was a Dr. Seuss book that covered that already. Just say I'm sorry.
We might need a little bit more Dr. Seuss at the Capitol. I don't know if that's going to encourage good behavior.
Maybe you should put that in everybody's stocking next Christmas. Here's a question. Let's go back to the infrastructure part, because I think that Arizona is one of the fastest growing states in the country. We continue to have a lot of people moving to our state. The city of Gilbert is looking at raising rates for water. We talk about rising taxes. Things are getting more expensive. It's expensive to live in Arizona, not like when you and I were young and our families.
People used to move here because of the ease and the affordability factor.
Right. And I think you touched on something with the growth of the freeway system, and a lot of people in the chat, let us know if this is an issue for you. But you mentioned Maricopa. I have family down there now. They moved down there years ago. But our freeway system also, they've done a great job in building. But what are some of the other infrastructure parts you think that need addressing when it comes to the rapid growth of our state? Sure.
I think that, if you're driving around in the valley itself, obviously the Maricopa County has an ability to dip into different resources via the tax code. And they had, I think, just last year approved a tax measure to extend for further building of the freeway system, et cetera. Where you really see pinch points now are the amount of people who drive in from, say, Prescott Valley, or my area in Casa Grande or Maricopa and Coolidge area. Out of a different county that doesn't have that same tax ability to expand the freeway system and relies on state dollars and people like me to go down to the Capitol and fight the good fight for transportation and infrastructure improvements. So I think that, at this point in time, if you're watching and listening in Casa Grande, Eloy, Coolidge, Florence, the I-10 is under construction. It's going to be a bear for the next few years. Yeah. But the reality is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And we have some options that we were able to approve in the budget last year for Highway 347 and Maricopa coming up and back. Ideally, though, one of the big things that doesn't get talked about in transportation infrastructure conversation is that with the more that we do to make sure that people can work in the places that they live and earn a wage that allows them to be able to live there. Think of entities like Lucid Motors that didn't exist in Casa Grande until the last 5. Now the largest employer in Pinal County.
Wow,
right?
It's huge.
And they are good paying jobs. The more that we can improve our economic development system and provide these good wage jobs in those areas, people won't feel the need to drive to Phoenix to work
So
on
true.
a daily
Well,
basis.
we wait to see if Lucid's going to come out with a lower cost car to compete seriously
Well,
with
it is Lucid Day at the Capitol today, so if you want to go take a look at some cars,
Ron,
you
do you
can
wanna
come
go-
on down to. It's just right down the street.
Sure, if they put them out there at 30,000 or 35, they don't all have to be 70.
Do we have an
I'm just
open?
saying.
Do we have open Q&A like at the state capitol? Can we
Anyway,
approach the podium,
yeah,
please?
there's no doubt. It's a shot in the arm for Arizona. I want to talk about schools here for a moment. It seems like ESA is under attack in our state, and yet more than 100,000 parents have endorsed it by saying, I will participate in school choice. How real is this kind of effort to shut down or severely limit ESA? And is there pushback to it?
Oh, there's most definitely pushback to it. I would argue that, especially for the parents out there who just literally a couple hours ago dropped their kids off at a school of their choosing. So let's go ahead and back it up a little bit. I mentioned that we were at a charter schools thing last week. So for over 30 years now in Arizona, we've had some semblance of school choice. We've also had open enrollment, which means that over 50% of the kids who attend a public district school actually don't go to the school that they're drawn into on the map.
Really?
They actually choose to take their child to, even if it's the same district school, to a different school within the same district as a part of the choice program that's been offered here since the 90s. ESA, I argue, is just another outgrowth of that. It's something that we've had to fight to keep because in each of the four State of the State addresses that Governor Hobbs has had, she's put kind of a bullseye, a target, so to speak, on ESAs and wanting to diminish the program, if not outright remove it. So it's something that we have to fight to defend every year. But you hit it right on the head. You said 100,000 kids are now in the program. At some point, we're going to reach a critical mass. You don't really ever hear people talking about, oh, well, we got to get rid of charter schools now. Why? Because 22% of the kids in Arizona go to a charter school. At some point, we're going to reach that critical mass where the parents will realize, as the rest of us have who follow this stuff, that if there is an attack that's on this thing that I send my kids to, and this function of this ESA is in peril, we need to stand up and say no. We have to go ahead and back the people up that are defending us on a daily basis at the state capitol. So it's something that I know the argument's not going to go away for the time being, but I do look forward to a point in time where it won't even be part of the equation as far as the argument.
Well, I don't know about you, Celeste, but I got a list of so many questions here. Dave and our executive producer, were saying we need to have check-ins with the legislature.
Well, it's something that I definitely look forward to whenever I enjoy telling people, because I think that unless you're down there on a daily basis saying what you only hear, maybe some of the especially early in session, there's always like a let's get us out of daylight savings time.
Well, you're
kind
welcome.
of thing, right?
You can come back anytime you want.
We're more than happy
that topic for later. Thank you very much.
Thank you, TJ. All right, welcome back, everyone. You're looking live at, well, the bird anyways. I think the bird might be enjoying the weather, but it's very cold.
That is a bird flying south. If he's in South Carolina, it won't be too much longer before Georgia and then finally Florida.
Yeah, for sure. We want to say good morning to everyone in our chat on YouTube. If you're watching on TV, join us on YouTube, Fox 10 Talks. If you go to our Fox 10 Phoenix YouTube page, just look under live and you'll find us there as well. And we just wanted to mention that it was a pleasure to have, statesman T.J. Shope.
You called him a statesman?
Yeah, he's
okay.
kind of, because he's a state lawmaker, but he's running for re-election. But that was interesting, I think, and we hope many of you.
President Pro Tem.
Yes.
Yeah, his position.
And if a lot of you guys, if you have ideas on who you may want to hear from, let us know in the chat. Big D's also, taking notes there, and we want to make sure that we get you all the information. And we love getting the fact that you guys ask questions in the chat because we can do that live on the fly, and not just with people like him, but with doctors and other people.
And look at what Bobby Q-Cat just said. Wow, the Waste Management Open is already sold out Saturday.
Yes.
Friday, $145.
That's crazy.
To get in there. He says that's a little on the laughable side. And then a lot of other just really great comments. So we love hanging out with you guys on YouTube. For sure.
We do.
Okay, so Celeste, when it comes to Punxsutawney Phil, I have been to all 50 states, and I was looking into going to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So I could see Phil. And of course, I think I have watched the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day. I bet you I've watched it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, like a groundhog. You're just over and over.
I love that movie so much. But I found out that they actually shot it not in Punxsutawney.
Oh, where was it?
I always assumed it was just kind of right in the downtown area. It was in Illinois. In the chat, if somebody knows where they shot it, it was a long way away from that part of Pennsylvania.
They must have gotten better tax breaks on something there.
Well, so I was ready to drive into the downtown, and I'm like, oh, wait, it's like a mile and a half outside of town. You got to park somewhere, get on a bus, 3 o'clock in the morning, go huddle up there. Yes. Yeah,
really?
I'm saying.
So is it kind of like a rawhide, like a little town, pretend town? Like, what do you mean?
No, it's like a farm.
Oh, wow.
I mean, maybe they have a few little nicks and knacks there, but anyway, nevertheless, wherever it's set up, the groundhog spoke today, and our Jeff Haggerty put together a 1-minute retrospective.
Can't wait.
It's Punxsutawney Phil! So I rise again this morning to greet you all. But today I wake thinking of numbers and time. America turns 250 and I'm at least 139. Let's celebrate all, young, old, babies or millennial, and kick off America's semi-quincentennial. We look to the future and not just the past. So I suppose this party could use a forecast. It is my job this February 2 to look to the skies and report back to you that there is a shadow here on my ground. 6 more weeks of winter abound.
Well, I heard some cheers, but I heard a lot of boos. But come on, man.
I'm actually surprised that, maybe they're cheering for Phil. They're like, okay, we're going to support the animal, but, and I wonder if it's a prerequisite to have a beard like that. You know what I mean?
Really.
Like so many of the guys have
my gosh. Yeah, that guy looks like James Garfield. Seriously. Well, you're exactly right. There's no doubt about it. And there's Punxsutawney Phil. I almost feel like when the mayor or whoever he is that comes out to make the announcement and they start booing him, it's kind of like when the commissioner of the NFL comes out of the NFL.
Oh, my goodness.
Anyway. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's February now. And it is Groundhog Day, and I guess we're fine with 6 more weeks of winter around here. We don't want to push 90.
No, we
almost are.
We are at about 85, I think, by Wednesday.
Right.
But then we're going to dip back down into the 70s by the end of the 10-day, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to. Maybe you want to post your favorite temp. What's your favorite temp, Ron? I think you said somewhere in the 70s.
Yeah, 72. I think I would go 72. You're a little warmer, as I recall.
Yeah, I'm right around 76. This past weekend was amazing.
Let's hear from the chat in YouTube. What is the ideal temp.
Yeah.
Because we did hit 85 yesterday. Maybe
We
some people
did.
say 85.
It was very breezy, and I actually quite enjoyed the day at about 11 a.m.
Oh.
11 to 12. I think I got
Yes.
home about 1. We were in the football field, and it was so nice.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, here's the thing. It is National Time Management Month.
okay.
It's a chance for, even though your New Year's and New Year's resolutions have come and gone, it's a chance for you to look at your time and do better.
Yes, and Linda Monter said Groundhog Day movie was filmed in Woodstock, Illinois.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my gosh,
Linda,
we got a new graphic.
let's ask AI.
Is this new?
Yeah, because look, it's like a brain now
Yes.
that's like gobbling up the world. Anyway, let's ask AI, Celeste. Here's what we're going to ask.
Okay.
And you guys at home, do you have a little, like a hack for being better organized? Anything that's ever worked for you? But ready, Celeste? I guess I'll go first here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you go first.
See if my lady is available today. The other day, she wasn't. So
I know.
here we go. Okay. Hi, are you there?
Loud and clear. What's on your mind today?
Well, it's National Time Management Month, and you know me pretty well. I've been asking a lot of questions over the last few months. So, based on what you know about me, what would you say are some tips that I could put in place to better manage my time?
From what I've gathered, you're juggling a lot. Family, history deep dives, travel planning, anchoring the news, and all that sports passion. So I'd say first, time block distinct categories, like creative planning versus on-air prep. Second, set hard limits on deep dives, maybe a timer, so you don't disappear into the past. Finally, make a next action list for each big project so you always know the next step. That way you stay on top of it all without the past or the playbook taking over.
Wow.
That is so right on, Celeste.
That was
because
really good.
the fact that she knows that I sometimes do deep dives
into history.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wow.
John Netzel and I were taping an episode the other day about Seward's Folly, which is, of course, Alaska.
Uh-huh.
And I
Oh,
bet
of course.
I spent 5 hours researching it.
Wow.
But I mean, I want to do a good job on this show that we have called
Absolutely.
Great American Story, but it's a good idea.
So real quick, we've got 105 is a good temp for Burger Boy, which seems quite warm.
Wow.
But we've got a lot of 80s up there and a 62. Who threw up the 60s?
Steph
had a
Lacey.
Yeah,
Lacey.
60s.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if my, the last time we were talking about pay raises, the boss was like, I told AI not to answer you. But let's see if it works. Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh,
What's on your mind?
So I'm wondering if you could give me some good ideas for time management.
Absolutely. Time management often comes down to a few key habits, knowing what really matters, breaking things into realistic chunks, and being intentional about your focus. A couple of practical ideas. First, try time blocking your calendar. Give each task a home. Second, identify what's truly urgent versus what's just noisy. And finally, leave some buffer time so life surprises don't derail you.
Oh, those are great ideas.
Buffer time. Now, how would that work? Can you ask him?
How does buffer time work? Can you give us more details on that, please?
Buffer time is like a little breathing room between tasks. Say you schedule a meeting or a focused task. Buffer time is a block of unscheduled time after it. It might be 5 minutes or 15, depending on your day. It gives you space to catch your breath. If you build buffer time in, you're basically giving yourself a cushion. You can use it to wind down from one task or prep for the next, or just handle life's curveballs without throwing off your whole schedule. It's a small tweak, but it can make your day feel way more flexible.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So,
thank you.
You know, the funny thing about this is
Buffer
we just like to
time.
have fun with
Yes.
this Ask AI segment, but I think we both actually learned stuff that we could use.
Absolutely.
Give yourself some buffer time.
Give yourself some buffer time.
And me quit with the 5-hour deep dives.
In response to this Lil philosophy says AI gonna flirt with Celeste because
Oh, yeah. Always
sometimes
does.
it gets a little saucy, spicy.
Yeah, he does.
But today was okay. But that buffer time I think is so crucial. That's interesting because you build in an extra like 15 minutes after your task.
Yeah.
Or like in my case, if I'm picking up my daughter from school, I'm buffering in like an extra 15 minutes before picking her up.
Yeah, the lines are long.
Lines are long. Give yourself some extra time.
Okay.
Get in line and maybe read read or something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I've started taking my Kindle in my purse.
Oh.
And
Well,
just
that's a
kind of
good way to
keeping it
go.
handy.
That way you got a bunch of books at your fingertip. Okay, so anyway, there's today's Let's Ask AI, and we got
AI.
you covered for sure.
Okay, so we have some good comments here. Let's see. Burger Boy 25, he says that he likes it at right around 105 degrees in Arizona. He says, give me the heat, baby. I can't.
But God can.
I can't, but God can.
60
I love
degrees.
that.
How about that? Huh?
They say we need snow in the White Mountains.
Okay.
And then Linda Monter says our lows have been in the 30s, 40s, highs in the 60s and 70s. If we get in the 80s, our lows won't be so cold.
By the way, AZ Raider is joking around saying, hey, why don't you ask her tomorrow for more tips on how to be better with your time management? Today's already lost. Right?
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, one last story here, Celeste.
Okay,
Actually,
Ron.
let's squeeze in two. Ready? Here we go.
Let's do it.
We got them all cut. If you didn't see the snow in the Carolinas, that's the Charlotte Airport, which as many people, I think, from South Carolina as North Carolina use it. And there was a lady at the airport who said, look, I fly in and out of the airports in Pennsylvania. It snows there a lot, and we can handle it. And she said, to me, it didn't look like they were handling it very well at the Charlotte airport.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
And well, Charlotte is a big hub for a lot of airlines,
Yeah,
a lot of
especially
connectors.
American, right.
Yeah. So if you're there at the, this is crazy. Look at these folks.
Yeah, I know it.
They're probably thinking, wow, this is wild.
Hey, I saw Kirk Herbstreit post yesterday that it had been 8 days in his neighborhood in Nashville with no power. And that he was doing okay, but there are still people in the area that he's really kind of worried about.
Well, one of my girlfriends, I think I mentioned this, like maybe on Friday, I can't remember, but her daughter's at Ole Miss. She's now here back in Phoenix, but they shut down.
Ice.
They shut down at Ole Miss for 10 days because of the ice. Everybody was out of power.
Sure.
And so her dorm room or her apartment was like 45 degrees.
You know, the only people happy about it at all, Celeste, and they're not even people.
Oh,
They're otters.
How cute. Look at them slithering around that snow.
Yeah, it's like their natural habitat, and they didn't even know it. This is in Fort Worth at their big zoo there.
Oh,
and
wow.
they were slipping and sliding around all weekend in that new fallen snow.
That's
pretty
so
cool, right?
sweet. By the way, Steph Lacey, 5642, Celeste, I keep my Kindle in my bag, too. I know you got to pick up those readers.
There you go.
You can, lady.
Okay.
Thank you guys for joining us. We so appreciate it. We hope you have a great Monday and a fabulous week. See you tomorrow.
Good Monday morning, everybody.
It's not a good Monday.
We're going to keep things rolling here at 11 o'clock. Anita's having a rough Monday.
Well,
hold on.
I had everything set up and ready to go, and then all of a sudden my computer decided, it's gone.
Wow.
That's okay. We're going to start with the economy because I feel like it affects everybody in so many absolute different ways. And we want to know, where is it going? What is the state of the economy in 2026? We're into month number 2 now.
All right, let's get out to Archie, Archie Hall, and he's going to be kind of diving into this for us. Archie, good morning.
Hi, Archie.
Morning.
How are you?
Hi. Good to see you.
Okay, good to see you too.
Okay.
All right, let's jump right into it. Kind of give us, I guess, a baseline of where the economy is at right now. You have been kind of crunching these numbers, watching these numbers. What is kind of going on now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the economy is in pretty good shape. There was a little bit of anxiety last year that the unemployment rate was popping up a little bit. You know, people are finding it a little bit harder to find jobs. But that seems to have stabilized. The economy is growing really strongly, and it has been for the past few years. Seems to have really shaken off some of those anxieties about tariffs and the government shutdown and all the other kind of drama of the past year, and is looking in a pretty good place. Inflation's a little bit high still, so that's one thing to watch out for. But otherwise America's looking good.
What are the factors that you take into consideration when you say the economy is doing good? I'm just going to say that when I go to the gas pump and I fill up my car, I'd like it around the $2 mark. I'd like to see those mortgage rates coming down. I would like to see houses more affordable. Groceries are still, and I get it, it's inflation and times change, but it's still pricey. My husband and I, just the two of us, are still buying a fourth of what we were buying a year ago.
Yeah, no, I mean, so the prices have gone up. It's worth saying that this is not true for everyone, but on average, wages have gone up more than prices have gone up. So there's sort of in principle, for most people, definitely for the average person who's working, that should have kind of shaken out over time. And we're now at a stage where prices aren't going up anymore. Obviously, they're still, as you say, a bunch higher than they were 5 years ago. People are finding that super tough, understandably. But that sort of story's mostly passed through. And then if you look at the kind of underlying growth rate of the economy, like, you know, are we producing more stuff, are we creating more jobs, all that kind of thing, that is looking pretty healthy and has for a while, thankfully.
Awesome.
Archie, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but let's kind of talk about this because Trump has tapped Kevin Warsh to be his new Federal Reserve chair in May. Do you think this could in any way, shape, or form have any impact on the economy? Of course, Trump keeps talking about how he wants those interest rates to come down. Jerome Powell has been kind of pushing back on that. Once Warsh gets in there, do you think that there's going to be kind of a status quo, or do you think there'll be some changes, and how could that potentially impact all of us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Warsh is one of the reasons he got the job is that he's been kind of really crusading for lower interest rates in line with the president for the past year or so. Interestingly, he used to be a high interest rates guy for most of his career. He was kind of the opposite, but he's sort of gone the other way. So I think there's two questions that we'll have to think through. And the first is kind of once Warsh actually comes in, does he stay as focused on lowering interest rates as he is right now? You know, Trump always complains about, you know, he puts people in, they say they're going to do one thing and they actually do another. And that's kind of the point of the Fed. The point of the Fed is to be independent from politics, like really look at the economy and see what it needs, not juice things up right before an election and so on. But so once Warsh comes in, there's a question of whether he will be more independent, and very, very few economists think interest rates should go down anywhere near as much as the president does. So should he be more independent there? And the other question is how much power he has. You know, the Fed chair gets one vote. There's 12 votes among the Fed governors and the regional bank presidents who set interest rates. And so unless he's really persuasive, most of the rest of them have been voting in line with Powell so far. And actually Powell's, if anything, more pro-cutting rates than many of them. So it's difficult to see how Warsh, as one person, even as the chair, kind of changes that dynamic that much, at least in the short term.
We have a question in the chat. Someone is asking what your take is on Trump's 50-year mortgage plan, something that the president floated a couple of months ago at the end of last year. And I think we saw feedback on both. Some saying, well, great idea, making it more affordable. Others said, no, when you do the math, it doesn't add up.
Yeah, no. Well, so, I mean, I kind of see it as tackling the wrong problem, which is your problem with house prices is firstly the house prices themselves are in many parts of the country just way too high, and that reflects the fact that it's in lots of parts of the country really hard to build, and so these land prices are just getting bid up and bid up and bid up because you can't add any new housing. The population's getting bigger, more people are coming into the country, and so on. More people are getting born. So that's, to my mind, the biggest problem, and the 50-year mortgage issue really doesn't affect that. There's then kind of the second problem, which is mortgage rates themselves are also pretty high. And to deal with that, ideally, the things you want to do are kind of, let inflation cool down even more, let the economy readjust, ideally not do things like mess with the Fed, which generally kind of scares the bond market and so pushes interest rates up. And the 50-year mortgage rate, I mean, there are arguments for and against. It would definitely improve monthly affordability, like people would be paying less in a month, but of course that's only because they're paying more over time and paying more over the lifetime. And so it's kind of a band-aid that I don't see as really fixing the underlying problems, but it may help some people.
Is it difficult to predict and look at where we will be 6 months, halfway through the year, at the end of the year even?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all these things. If it was easy to predict, people would be making lots and lots and lots of money on Wall Street correctly predicting those things. And I would be a much richer man if I could predict the economy as well as that. But no, I mean, so far it's been a very, very bad bet to bet against the American economy for about the past 15 years. And so I think the pattern to expect short run is that continues, and then further out it depends.
Awesome.
Archie, can I just say thank you so much for talking to us in general terms that we can understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was difficult. Oh no, we're going to be talking to someone about the economy.
It's tough.
It's going to be over everybody's head, but you made that very digestible. So thank you.
Kind.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you on again. We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. The other big story that we are following today, and this came out very early this morning, a television host, morning television host, Savannah Guthrie, who is from the Tucson area.
She went to U of A.
She did, and her mom still lives in town, and she was reported missing on January 31st, the last time that she was seen. Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old. She was seen in her home right outside Tucson. And there's a lot of concern right now because we had a press conference yesterday, and they are now considering this a crime scene.
Yeah, they won't kind of go into specifics as to maybe what they found inside of that home to lead them to believe that this has been some sort of crime that has been committed. But we did hear from the sheriff, I believe, last night, and then there was another press conference. I think it was right around the 9 o'clock hour that we broke in, if you were watching during AZAM. But obviously a lot of concern, and this is her picture, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, last seen at her home, and I believe it was Saturday. She didn't show up to church yesterday, which is kind of a routine that she
very unusual
always has, and that's when her friends called in around noon yesterday saying that she had gone missing.
Yeah, and again, the sheriff speaking out about what was found inside the home. There are no specifics, but we do have a reporter from the Tucson area, KOLD, who is going to join us. Tyler, is it?
Yep.
Hi.
Tyler Butler.
Yes.
Hi, Tyler.
Hey, I've got you. Can you hear me?
Yes, wonderful. This has
Fantastic.
everyone's attention because I have friends who used to produce in Tucson and who said the area where the home is located is very beautiful, nice neighborhood, and a lot of concern, especially about what the sheriff is saying about the inside of the home. No details are being released, but they're saying that it's very concerning. They have grave concern.
Yeah, it's certainly, I mean, before, earlier this morning when we were anchoring our show before this press conference, we had kind of understood there was some kind of scene, some kind of evidence. I mean, homicide detectives were involved in this, which, typically when you have an older person that goes missing, a silver alert, something like that, you think it's a medical issue. So when we hear homicide gets called out, obviously that raises some eyebrows. And then this morning's press conference kind of confirmed that, yeah, there's something going on here. But I think as you all were alluding to, I mean, in this press conference, he kind of stopped short of saying that there was a struggle. It looked like he was about to say the word. But that's about as far as we got in terms of description of what's happening there. Of course, when you're early on in something like this, law enforcement doesn't want to show all their cards because A, they're looking for somebody, and B, they don't want to hurt their case down the line. So yeah, we're really limited right now. But I mean, from what we do know, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, it's a nice part of town.
Yeah.
This is a very unusual story.
I was going to kind of have you, Tyler, for folks that are not familiar with the Tucson area, to kind of set the scene where this home is located. Is it a gated community, or do we know anything about kind of where Miss Guthrie lives?
Yeah, we're not sure quite yet where the exact house is. We just got an intersection at this point, but I mean, it's in an area that's kind of behind a shopping district. This is kind of a better off community back there, and so I mean, like you said, it's a nice, beautiful part of town. We don't know if it was a gated community. Part of the press conference today was, we need every piece of information. If anybody's got a Ring camera that's pointed at the street in that neighborhood, they want that information. It sounds like they have got a lot of data to comb through, because we're not sure at this point what they're looking for. We're not sure if they know quite what they're looking for at this point.
Some of the things that came out of the press conference, they're saying time is very critical. They also talked a little bit about Nancy herself, saying no cognitive issues. She does have some physical challenges, needs medication, but that she's also very limited in her mobility. So she would not have just walked out. We know, sometimes people go hiking and maybe they fall and they hurt themselves. It doesn't seem like that is the case. They also said there were other things at the scene that indicated she did not leave on her own.
Yeah, and that's the concerning thing, is because, yes, we do have, I mean, you guys have this up in Phoenix as well. We've same thing down in Tucson. We got lots of people that like to go hiking. Catalina Foothills is an area where, yeah, you can get up and do a lot of hiking in that area. But yeah, based on the timeline, based off whatever it is they found in that house, yeah, that's not lining up. And they were quite clear in that distinction that, yeah, this was not a case of someone with I mean, he directly said it's not a dementia case. This is someone that was very, very sharp, from what he's been told, not somebody that would just wander off out of their house and go missing, as unfortunately does sometimes happen. So it really sounds like they're throwing as much as they can at this. He mentioned pretty much every agency that can be involved is Border Patrol, FBI. I mean, it's anybody that's got any kind of technology that can help them connect some dots here. It sounds like they're going for it. And yes, in terms of the time sensitivity issue, they mentioned mobility was a thing, but they also mentioned, that there are some medications that he specifically said we got a 24-hour window here before things get concerning. And unfortunately, we're coming up on that 24-hour window as far as we know, from when she was officially confirmed with that thing.
Wow.
Well, Tyler Butler, anchor at KOLD, we really do appreciate your time. And if you have any new details, please let us know. We'd love to have you back on our show. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And we are going to take a quick break, you guys. We'll be right back in 2 minutes with much more. All right, welcome back, you guys. We're going to keep things rolling here. Fox 10 Talks at 11. We brought in our weather expert, Krystal Ortiz.
Meteorologist extraordinaire.
Weather here in just a minute.
Yes.
But of course, a lot of folks coming in for the WM Phoenix Open, and the weather could not be more perfect.
Well, because we remember a few years ago, it was the exact
Brutal,
opposite. So
right?
Thank goodness it's looking good.
It was raining, and there was a gentleman wearing white pants who slid
down the mountain.
And we rolled that video probably
Poor guy.
3 dozen times. Captain Dave Folio with Scottsdale Fire is out and about at the Open. You're the man in charge out there. Hello to you. What are we expecting this year?
Did you really just say rain in that beginning of that? Come on.
We were
No
talking
rain.
about the past.
I'm going to knock us some wood right now. The weather's going to be amazing, 80 degrees. I'm good. Thanks for having me. Hey, the question is, why aren't you guys out here with me?
We were asking the same question. We were like, can we take Fox 10 Talks live to the WM
I
Phoenix
got
Open?
you guys. You need to come out. Hey, just want to remind people, WMPhoenixOpen.com. You can go to that website. It's a great site. It'll lead you in here. If you're coming in, if you're going to general admission, we just want to remind people right off the bat, we put an update on the parking thing yesterday that WM did. Don't come off Hayden, Greenway, Scottsdale Road. You need to come off of Princess or Bell Road if you're trying to get to Westworld for general parking. And then once again, the weather's going to be amazing out here. You can see it right now. I'll give you a picture, but hydrate the night before you come out. Don't start when you get out here. Wear comfortable shoes. You're on over 220 acres of golf course out here, so a lot of uneven surfaces. Apply the sunscreen, and know that there is a code of conduct when you come out here that you got to follow. So really important to look at the back of your ticket. It talks about the code of conduct. Respect the fan, respect the player, respect the game. Come out, have fun. Just do it responsible. Another thing, too, I just want to talk about real quick. There's zero reason to drive out of here intoxicated. There's too many options for share rides. So make sure you take advantage of that.
Let's talk a little bit about that code of conduct. What is it? And then also, how closely is everyone being watched as far as that drunk driving and any type of intoxicated driving?
Yeah, so just know, obviously Scottsdale Police Department's doing their DUI task force. They're out and about on the streets. You need to know that you can't go anywhere on this course without being on camera, right? That's for your safety, our safety, everybody working the event. We work extremely close with PGA, Thunderbirds, WM to make this event successful. We want you to have fun when you come out, but you got to know times to cheer, to not cheer. 16 obviously is a whole different game. That's the loudest hole in golf. That's the time to cheer. That's the time to boo. But also you got to be respectful. We're going to ask you, don't throw, you go. There's signs everywhere saying that you throw, you go, talking about the cups and stuff like that. Zero tolerance. You spend a lot of money to get into some of these venues. Don't be thrown out because you're irresponsible. We want people to come out. You're going to be doing it in a responsible way. We made some changes last year after you said that R word. We're not going to say the R word around here. We're going to have great weather. But another thing, great changes. A walkway for the players so they're safer. They get out to the driving range. The wider 16, we added a second entrance. When I say a third entrance, because the other entrance is over at Princess. But it alleviated a lot of choke points for us, allows people to move around the course freely. And it gets you out to 16, 17 easier, the Cove. And then obviously we have the famous greenskeeper, which up and running today. There's a DJ playing out there. But we have walking teams, bike teams, carts, and all these venues to keep you safe. Everything we carry on one of our fire trucks is on these backpacks that we carry, advanced life support. So we're ready. Year-long planning, working with the PGA, Thunderbirds, Pro-Am, everybody to keep you safe. Just want you to come out and have a good time.
Yeah. I mean, Dave, you've done this so many years. I mean, this must be kind of like second nature for you by now, right?
Yeah, everybody, it's the same spill, city within a city, cooking oils. The only thing change to do is to keep the brand new venue. But we do have 5 kitchens there now instead of 1. We used to just have 1 kitchen, and now we have 5, which brings in propane, cooking oils. Yeah. So if we were to have a venue, an incident out there, people need to think about this. 220 acres of grass. That's why it's the greatest show on grass, right? But there's no infrastructure. There's no hydrants. There's no electricity. All that had to be brought in to get this facility going. So once again, we were even pulling from the Central Arizona Project, the canal that's out back. We put a pump down in there. We run pipe up. That gives us a fire hydrant for 16 Cove and the 17th hole. So we strategically park equipment back there to keep everybody safe. If we were to have a fire, we pull from that engine quickly because we got to contain the city within a city. We still run in a city outside of this, but we don't want to have to rely quickly on resources getting here. But we do have avenues to bring them in.
Sure.
Pretty incredible. You guys do such a great job. Every year the Open grows, and I imagine that your crew and staffing does as well. You guys stay safe out there.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Once again, if you're going to come out, check the weather. It's going to be warm, 80, 85, I think, 82 maybe on Wednesday. Travis Kelce's going to be out here. I'm not. Don't say the S word now. Don't say Swifties because I'm not going to be out here.
We're not allowed to say the R word or the
Or
T
Taylor
word.
Swift.
Oh, he said it.
Oh, sorry.
He said it.
No, I didn't know.
Thanks, Captain. Appreciate it.
Hey, love you guys.
Okay.
Thanks for having me
Bye.
on.
Love you too.
I appreciate it.
Bye.
He said love you guys.
Oh, I didn't hear him say that. Oh.
I thought it was one of those things where you just automatically
I did too. You know, like when you're like,
tell the cash register.
Captain's a good friend of the show. So we're not allowed to say the R word.
Okay.
Rain. We said
Well,
it.
you both said it, but
well,
I won't.
I just wanted to make sure she
Actually,
knew
I
what
might.
we were talking about because she didn't have IFB in.
Yeah, I did not know I needed
She
any.
had no idea what was happening.
I just was reacting whenever you guys smiled. I was like, I also
get
will
it.
smile.
You were really good at that. You had me fooled
Thank
too.
you. An
And I
actress
knew
I
you didn't
am.
have any
Yeah.
IFB. Well, it did look cloudy behind Captain.
It looked beautiful, though.
It does.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's. I mean, TBC Scottsdale is such a
Yeah.
pretty area, but
The weather has been kind of hot for this time of the year.
indeed it
We
has.
broke a record. Was it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday,
Yesterday,
yes.
85.
And then we might do it again today.
Wow.
Definitely warm. I will say for people that are leaving like 5-degree weather, they're probably so
Yeah,
stoked to be
right.
coming into this.
Well, they want to come out here.
They want to
and
go to the
walk
pool,
around and
hang out in some shorts.
They'd
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
be going to the pool in 70 degrees
Yeah,
too.
they wouldn't care.
Overall, the weather's pretty good. There is a little question mark this weekend, so we can walk through the details on that. But this is where things are currently. Flagstaff, Phoenix, both look pretty nice. Some high clouds overhead, like you said. There's like a little bit of cloud coverage out there, but it's not rain producing. We're already at 69 degrees in Phoenix, so we're nearly 70 degrees. It's
Warming back up.
11:22 in the morning. So yeah, we're warming up pretty quickly. You brought up the records, Ty. So yesterday we hit 85. Average yesterday was
Look at the
69.
average.
I know, so
We should be
16
close to
degrees
70.
warmer.
We're well over that.
And honestly, it is a bummer because 70s, in my opinion, are the best weather.
I do too.
So I'm like, we don't need to make a quick jump to the 80s. Like, I'd be fine going back to the 70s, but here we are. Old record was 83. It was back in 2003. So we broke that one by like 2 degrees, which is pretty impressive because if you remember last week, I was forecasting low 80s, but we ended up making it to the middle 80s. So we were even warmer than we were expecting, and we knew it was going to be warm.
Yeah.
And then the record today is 82. It was set just last year, and the forecast today is 82. So we could tie another record.
one.
Yeah. So
Or
a couple
breaking
days.
another one.
Potentially,
You know
yeah.
what? I'm going to say let's just go for it.
Why
Since
not?
We broke one yesterday. Let's go a double.
Honestly,
doozy.
sometimes that happens here. Once we start breaking records, it's like this unstoppable force for a
Domino,
few
yeah.
days. Yeah. So
My question is, how long can we go? How many records can we break?
Well,
you know,
let's not challenge
I
Mother
know.
Nature. We have a whole summer ahead of us.
I get worried.
There's the highs around the entire state for folks that might be watching from anywhere else. We got like 60s in Sedona, 70s in Safford, about 80 Lake Havasu, and then St. John's also into the middle 60s. So even in the high country, although the mornings have been chilly, like teens, 20s, low 30s, the afternoons have been pretty mild recently. I mean, 50s and 60s in February. It's nice, but it's awful too because our snowpack is just like
Dismal.
almost non-existent up in the high country, which we hate to see for this point in the year. Like in December, it's like, I'm not worried too much. In January, it's, well, we'll see. But by February, it's, okay, we should have more snow than this. So this is a bit of a rough go for us. The reason has been, this is a pretty typical La Nina pattern where high pressure dominates our forecast all winter and keeps us dry, and storms run over like the Pacific Northwest. And that's what's going to continue happening these next few days. So we keep this like very clear pattern. High pressure starts to shift, though, a little bit by Thursday, so late week. And you can see how it kind of looks like it's almost getting pulled to the east, the way that starts to set up. This is what we're hoping will be finally the door opening to a pattern shift that allows for an area of low pressure, or like a little storm system, to start to approach from the west. Now, there's still a question mark as to will it have much moisture, if any, and will it actually get to us? But for now, it does look like it could slide on over Arizona and provide us with some low shower chances Friday into Saturday for the high country. But notice it looks fairly dry on this model. Even with that in mind, as it moves out to the east, again, it could leave the door open for additional action into next week. But right now, the Climate Prediction Center for the second week of February, so that's like starting this weekend into next week, it does have us falling into the wetter than average potential.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, which we love to see, especially for this time of year. But I always try to point out that wetter than average does not mean like a downpour.
Sure.
If you get 1/100 of an inch and the average is 0 inches, then that's above average. So it's not a guarantee of a downpour or anything. It just means that we're leaning towards a more like moist atmosphere it gives us the potential for storms. So that's something to watch as we move forward. But this is the 10-day, and you can see, so if folks are going to the Open, 83 tomorrow, and then 85 again Wednesday.
Hot.
Yeah, low 80s Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday is the day where there is that isolated chance of a shower. It's only a 10% chance right now. I'm not super concerned at this point. It looks like even if we did get something, it'd be very light and spotty. But obviously for folks that do have outdoor plans, that's the day we should monitor a little more closely.
That's the day everyone's going to be out there, too. That's Saturday.
Yes.
Now, Krystal, you are from Arizona.
Indeed, I am.
Have you ever? Did you ever go like as a spectator to the WM Phoenix Open?
So it's so funny because I growing up, I always went to Barrett Jackson, and we always do spring training. But I personally have never gone to the Open. My dad and brother would go, and I've just never done it. And then this year, my husband's like, I think I might want to go with the guys. So maybe my husband can do a little reconnaissance. If I'm being honest, I don't know a lot about golf. Although I'm not going for the golf. I need to know golf.
It's such a show.
Yes, I've heard.
The first year we went just to walk around, and it was cool, and it was windy and breezy, but it's fascinating to watch the people and everyone.
I mean, I've heard it's so much fun.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind going. I just never have gone.
The 16th hole is. Have you ever been?
No, I've only worked reported when we have.
I've only reported from the 16th hole, but that was enough. I don't know that I would ever return. It's not for the faint of heart. It is wild.
Yeah.
And then
the bird's nest, of course, is like a thing of its own.
Yeah. And when they open the gates that morning, so everyone tries to run into that 16th
get a good spot.
Forget it.
I know.
I love the video that we always get of that.
I know.
Like these.
Yeah, and they're
serious about it.
They really are. Yeah, you got to get those front row seats.
And the costumes and the outfits. Today we saw the gentleman in the green and white suspenders, no shirts.
Oh yeah.
Well, you see the WM Phoenix Open. Danielle was out there earlier, and they have like their own like line of clothes that they have. And one of the sweater says 16 on it, which I thought was like a clever outfit.
Those were all made out of like recycled material, right? That's so neat.
All sorts of cool like art installations out there.
Yeah, they do give back in a big way. So
and the amount that they save, even from like the water that they use to all the recycling, it is pretty impressive what they try and conserve.
I think we should take the show on the road.
All right,
Dave. That way
that'd
Krystal could
be
get
fun.
to see it.
Can we go out there tomorrow?
Walk around a little bit.
Hopefully we have like good Wi-Fi
The
signal.
food is good. We're going to see.
Last
year, Jelly Roll just made an appearance. I think
some of the celebs bring other celeb friends, so you never know who's out there. And everybody keeps talking about Taylor Swift because Travis Kelce.
I won't be surprised.
But
supposedly the word is it's not happening, but I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, thanks.
Well, Krystal, it's good to see you.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
All right. Have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. In the meantime, Ron and Des, they're back.
everybody. Welcome aboard and compare our upper 70s, low 80s to Dayton, Ohio. Now, Des, I know, it doesn't look that great today, but it's a fantastic town to go spend some time in. When I was there, so this is what I do when I travel. I get up, I look at my phone. I'm like, hey, are there any like cool stories or like historical things to go see here? And like, the Wright brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright, had their bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh.
And so now it's
How do you know that?
Now it's a national museum. Well, I went to go tour it, and you can actually see that plane that they built in Dayton, Ohio, which is the only plane in American history that actually became a National Historic Landmark. The Flyer, the 1905 Flyer. So,
wow.
Yeah, no
Okay.
kidding. Dayton, we love ya, although it's another snowy
How cold
state.
is it there this morning? Do
That's
we
a good
know?
question. We have the answer. We
Well,
have the ability.
It's what time there? It's noon.
Yep.
Right. Well, no, hang on. It's
1:30, right?
1:30.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's about 28 degrees. That's the high for today.
Okay. Good luck. It's
So,
another day below
sure.
freezing. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Okay, so how's your day been going so far? I always like to do a little check-in with Des
Great.
as we get started.
Great. Little car sick. But, you know, yeah, man, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but like my whole life from
Okay.
being a kid
Yes.
to now,
Okay.
I get like car sick on long drives.
Okay.
I don't
You're
know what,
not
but I
having any-
love roller coasters.
Okay.
I'm good on the plane, but it's just so weird to me that's where I get a little car sick.
Maybe
on
it's
a long
Brian's
drive.
driving.
You know, it was Tom today.
Oh, it was Tom?
So
Okay,
that's
well,
probably
say
not
no
much
more.
better. No, just kidding. But we went all the way up north, Cave Creek, to speak with a gentleman. His name's Felix. He
Yeah.
opened a butcher shop up there in Cave
Oh,
Creek.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's Grinder Meats and Market.
Yeah.
And if you're in the area, give him some love. His story is just incredible. He and his wife, they're married. They've been married, I think they said 15, 16 years.
Good, great.
So a long
Love it.
time. 3 kids. They go to school in Cave Creek.
Okay.
She's a teacher, but he has more than 2 decades of experience working with AJ's. He ran their entire like butcher department.
Really?
And then worked his way up, went to corporate, did
Okay.
really well.
Okay.
And then unfortunately lost his job because they're doing all of those cutbacks.
Oh, my
so he goes, you know what?
gosh.
I'm going to follow a lifelong dream of mine. It's to
Good.
open up my own butcher shop.
Okay.
So they did that. So he did that in July, and they're right up there on North Cave Creek Road.
Bella,
if you want to support them.
It looked
So-
like it was out of a Hollywood scene. You couldn't design a better looking butcher shop.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was an old coffee shop, I think he said. So they put a little love into it.
Yeah.
And then opened, in July. And I just love that, right? You just have someone who's following their dream, who's trying
It's
to provide
so
for their
great.
family. So
Every-
yeah, if you can support them, that'd be amazing.
I feel like every day we find a story like that and we put it on TV.
Mhm.
So it's great.
Yeah.
All right. So the big story this morning is the disappearance and apparent crime related to the disappearance of Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy Guthrie. We had that news conference just a little while ago in Tucson. Bright and early this morning, the sheriff went in front of the microphone. So I thought we could play some of that and then talk a little bit more about it before we get to our TMZ segment today. So here is some of what the sheriff had to say there in Pima County.
I believe it was around noon yesterday, we got a call to the Guthrie residence that Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, was missing. At some time earlier that morning, they got a call from somebody at the church who said, hey, your mom's not here. The family went to the house. I'm thinking they spent some time looking for her themselves before they called us, so I'm guessing maybe they got there around 11. So they did some searching and realized we need some help, and they called 911.
Okay, and there is the missing person poster that is being posted online, and probably no doubt flyers distributing as well. When the story first broke, I thought, up in those Catalina foothills.
She needs her daily medication.
Here we go.
And anybody that sees anything that even looks, hey, maybe that's her, just take a quick picture. And take a video, send it to us. The number is real easy here locally. It's 911. You can contact our 88 crime and remain anonymous. You can call me, anybody. Well, I think I told you she is very limited in her mobility, right? We know she didn't just walk out of there. That we know. There are other things at the scene that indicate there was she did not leave on her own. We know that.
Okay, so a lot of prayers for that family, that's for sure, and it doesn't look good. I mean, they're saying there's something at that home, which, by the way, not only did they designate it as a crime scene, then they announced this morning that the FBI and Customs and Border Protection are also involved in the case.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, it's so unsettling, right? So many questions, I think, still remain, even though they did have that press conference this morning. And he also made mention, he said that this stood out because of what was described to law enforcement at the scene and what they were able to locate just looking at the scene. So it just, I mean, obviously they're not telling us what it is that they found, and indicates that there's something bigger happening here, but it's just devastating to see. And yeah, usually you don't have the homicide team involved in a search like this, but they say, the other clues lead this, it makes it a crime scene investigation.
You know what let's do? We're going to bring in Alexa Clone now, and TMZ. It's our regular 11:35 every Monday morning segment. Let's start, though, Alexa, because I'm sure TMZ has been all over this. What is the latest on what you've heard in terms of your coverage on Savannah Guthrie's missing mom?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are all over this. It's kind of escalated very quickly, like you said. Initially the call came in as a lost person, missing person for Nancy Guthrie, and then quickly escalated once cops arrived to her home in the Catalina foothills, changing it to, getting the homicide unit involved. So it's kind of limited on what we know exactly. Of course, it is still an open investigation involving the homicide unit. So whatever that they did find at Nancy's home led them to believe that this is now turned into a crime, and that her home is a crime scene. Like you said, the U.S. Border and Customs Protection are involved. Not really a shocker, because Tucson is pretty close to that Mexico border. So, hopefully she isn't taken to a different country. That would kind of complicate things way more, as we know. But, definitely stay tuned with us as this unfolds. Hopefully, someone will see her, or we can get more answers on where Nancy is or what happened.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've been wondering about, too. One of our loyal YouTubers, Louis Gonzalez, is asking, why is CBP involved? And that, I think, is maybe one of the biggest unanswered questions right now. But yeah, you're correct. Yeah. It's only about a 90-minute drive from there to the border, but that just introduces an element that at this point doesn't make a lot of sense.
Definitely, yeah. Who knows? Maybe, there's ransom involved. Like, we have no idea what the purpose or intention of anyone coming into her home. Like we said, police haven't really been open on if this was, home invasion, if anything was taken. They just kind of labeled it as a crime scene. But with, that homicide unit involved makes it a little, nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we learn more on that, certainly, as the day unfolds. Obviously, we're seeing her picture over and over again. So hopefully folks can take those in and maybe be able to recognize her if they think that they see her out. But we also have another topic to get to this morning, and it's now involves Trevor Noah and the president. So what is happening here? The president now threatening action against Trevor Noah after the Grammys last night.
Yeah. As we know, Trevor Noah had hosted the Grammys last night, saying it was his final year. So he really didn't hold back on much. He did bring up, the Epstein files, of course, another huge topic that everybody's talking about right now, and kind of poked fun, made a little joke on Trump wanting Greenland because Epstein's island is no longer available to him. And President Trump did not like that too much, went on a huge rant on Truth Social saying that he is going to send his lawyers Trevor's way. So we haven't seen, anything filed yet, but he seems pretty serious about it. So we'll have to see if he takes legal action.
So we're looking at his post. He said, I can't speak for Bill Clinton, but I have never been to Epstein Island or anywhere close. And until tonight's false and defamatory statement, I've never been accused of being there, not even by the fake news media. So that's why there's talk about legal action. Were there two or three, would you say, because Grammys is obviously a huge night in your part of the world. What were two or three of the other kind of big headlines that came out of it?
Definitely, yeah. There was a lot of headlines that came out of last night's Grammys. A lot of talk, of course, about ICE and all the protests. But probably the biggest topic was Bad Bunny. He won Album of the Year, which was the first time for a Spanish language album to win the award. And as we know, he's about to perform in the halftime show at the Super Bowl. He made little comments, saying ICE out, which is that pretty popular phrase. People are wearing it on pins. A lot of the celebrities were wearing it last night at the Grammys as well. So he did speak up, but was more promoting love than hate yesterday. So, but big news for him and definitely leading him in a positive direction for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, coming off a big night for him for sure. And Kendrick Lamar is taking headlines too. He came out a big winner.
Definitely, yeah. His song with SZA, Luther, won an award as well for Record of the Year. Kind of funny, though. Cher fumbled on the words and, called him Luther Vandross, which is, of course, very famous artist. But she said that the name wasn't on the prompter, and it was just a funny little silly moment.
Hey, by the way, we only have about 30 seconds left, but how did it turn out that Justin Bieber forgot his clothes?
I know. I think that was also a great headline, too. I mean, he was wearing, his Skylark boxer brief, so a little promo for his clothing brand. But it was good to see him performing on the stage again. A lot of us Beliebers missed seeing him up there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'd rather see him in boxers than Chaparral Roan's dress, whatever that was, hanging on by a thread. Ouch.
Definitely the look of the night.
Definitely not, right? What was she thinking?
Yeah, it looks painful.
It did. No thanks.
All right, Alexa, we got to run. But thanks for all your stuff today from TMZ. It was quite a night, no doubt about it.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
All right, Des. Look at this.
Ooh, that's a nice mystery cam.
Yeah. Do I see little patches of snow? I'm trying to figure it out. Give us your guesses, everybody. All right, well, wherever today's mystery cam is, there just are not a lot of people up and moving around, even though it's probably East Coast. Doesn't look very West Coasty to me. And we've seen two people walk by in their big old jackets, and here's one other guy who's about to climb the stairs and go find a nice heated hotel room somewhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Are we seeing some good guesses, Des?
We're guessing from Louis, Sherry, Florida. We're also guessing a Virginia. That's coming in from Jenna. Another Florida from Burger Boy. I don't know.
Okay, I could see Virginia, but I'm going to go up to like a New Jersey. So, what do you think?
Yeah, you're probably right. Myrtle Beach. I don't know. Do they have a boardwalk that, though?
The thing about Myrtle Beach is they have all these high-rise hotels. So I did that one did pop in my head, and then I thought Atlantic City, but it's got a bunch of high-rise hotels. Yeah. So
all right, I'll go with Jenna, so she's not alone. Virginia sounds good.
Okay, so we got a Virginia, we got a New Jersey, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah,
it's Wildwood.
Oh, it is?
It's Wildwood, New Jersey.
Okay, well, there it is. Yeah. One more. This is not the weekend. These poor folks who, pre-book their rooms out there, and they're like, well, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, you're stuck now.
Yeah.
Those plans are made.
Hey, we have big news this morning for football fans across the state of Arizona. And frankly, the Cardinals have fans in some other locales. They're not quite to the level of Bills Mafia or Steeler Nation. Or Back the Pack
or
with
the Raiders.
Packers, or the Raiders, but they're getting there. It's always nice to see an away game and at least a few folks showing up in the big with their big red.
Yeah,
but this is so cool.
Exciting news on this Monday.
Yeah,
for sure.
So let's do this. Look who's on the phone, Des.
Richard. Hey,
nice.
Richard.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Good. How are you? Are you excited about this pick here for head coach for the Cards?
I am. I'm really excited. This is one of the guys I wanted. I wanted either him or Clint Kubiak, and it came down to those two. Kubiak's going to end up going to the Raiders. You mentioned the Raiders and their fan base. And so then Mike LaFleur becomes a guy. Both of them have coached in the NFC West. Kubiak is with the Seattle Seahawks now. He was with San Francisco before. Same with LaFleur. He was with the Rams this past season. Was with San Francisco. So they both come from the Kyle Shanahan tree. And that's a pretty good tree to branch off of. And, he's young, 38, super smart. I think this could be kind of like what the Suns did when they hired a young and up-and-coming coach in Jordan Ott, and look what they're doing. And this could be a pretty good get for the Cardinals if they support him, right? Those young kids say, let him cook. Well, you got to give him some groceries. You got to give him you got to give him a coaching staff to support him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting, don't you think, that the youth movement in the NFL is a real thing? We're seeing younger and younger coaches, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they are maybe more able to be relatable to their players. I guess with the one real big exception, Mike McCarthy going to the Steelers.
Right. And Mike McCarthy is a Steeler guy. He was born in Pittsburgh and stuff, so that's one of the reasons why a lot of people feel good about that in Pittsburgh. But yeah, I think you're right. It's a new move now where a lot of these teams try to catch a guy that's on the rise so you can get him cheap, allow him to grow with your organization. And I think the success of Sean McVay, who is with the Rams, who had Mike LaFleur under his wing, his success being hired at 30, winning the Super Bowl 3 years later, has kind of had other teams going, hey, wait a minute, maybe that's the way to go instead of an old retread.
So what will be the immediate impact? How will we see under his tutelage the team look different in his very first year?
I would have to say offensive creativity. I think that's one of his strong points is, his ability to kind of get the most out of his players. And, you look at what they've done with the Rams, whether it's the running game or the resurgence of, their quarterback Matthew Stafford or drafting a guy like Puka Nacua. And I think that's another thing that I think goes under the radar with Mike LaFleur is his ability to identify talent. He was the offensive coordinator for the Jets. didn't succeed there, but who does? But he did draft some good players. So I think that's going to be his strong suit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and look at his brother, Matt. I mean, he was such a solid OC, too. Spent time with him in Nashville with the Titans. Now, obviously, look at what he's done for Green Bay. And then that kind of leads into our question that we're getting from Michael Lewis in the chat. Richard wants to know, do you think he's going to be more offensive-minded or defensive-minded as it relates to the Cardinals? What differences can we expect here from Mike?
Well, first of all, kudos to you with the brother stat there. That's a very good a good tidbit of information, right? He's got a big brother that's the head coach of the Green Bay Packers who's had success there. He can pick his brain. He can still, he's had to have learned something from Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay throughout most of this, right? If you're hanging out with these guys, you're going to get something. And to answer Michael's question, I think he's definitely going to be offensive-minded because that's kind of his forte. And I think that's, it's funny because the Cardinals have gone 1 year defense coach, 1 year offense coach. They went with Steve Wilkes was defense coach, then they went with Cliff Kingsbury, offense coach. Then they go, Bruce Arians, offensive coach, so they kind of like flip-flopped.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
I'm rooting for. Yeah, you said good fact there. Well, Richard, David, my husband played under Matt, and he's just just a great guy. So, I mean, if Mike is anything like his brother, I'm really excited about it. And then, Mike, also our next question: what are we going to do with Kyler? You think we're going to part ways, or are they going to make a change there at quarterback?
Yeah, well, I think so. It's going to be very interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Cardinals were the last team to hire a coach, because there's so much uncertainty at such a valuable position. You look at the Raiders. The Cardinals were interested in Clint Kubiak. There's a reason why he chose the Raiders. You look at, they're going to have the number one pick. They're going to get Fernando Mendoza, a guy with a great nickname in Heisman Mendoza, right? You already know who you're going to have there to work with. Here, you don't know. Can they repair what has happened between Kyler Murray and the Cardinals and say, okay, yeah, we went with Jacoby Brissett, but now we want you back? And that's what you got to wonder during these interviews. Were these coaches trying to sell the Cardinals that, hey, I can fix Kyler Murray, I can bring him back and save you the money? Or were they saying, look, were they interviewing the Cardinals and say, what's the deal at quarterback? Who am I going to have to work with? And that's going to have to be one of the major questions that they're going to have to answer right away. Either trade Kyler Murray, cut him, or make him work one way or the other.
All right, let's get a hot take from you. What are the odds that Kyler Murray, if you had to put it, from 0 to 100, is going to be the starting quarterback on week 1?
Well, he could be, maybe just not for the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay. So you think he's out of here?
Steelers.
Yeah.
The Steelers have a plethora of third-round picks, and that's something that the Cardinals can say, look, give us a third-round pick, and we'll send you him, and then, you guys take part of his contract. So the trade deadline, the cut deadline, there's 2 different dates. One is in March. If they save some money, they do that. And then if they wait till after June, then they get a little bit of a break on the cap hit. But either way, the Cardinals are going to have to eat some of that money. And that's why I found it so interesting that they fired Jonathan Gannon, because they still have to pay him for the next 2 years. They're still playing Cliff Kingsbury, and they're going to have to eat the counter contract. So some tough budgetary decisions have to be made by the Arizona Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. A lot of good info always from Richard.
We appreciate
and I'll have more. I'll have more coming up at 3 o'clock in the 3 o'clock hour for Fox 10 Talks. And I promise I'm not going to pull a Justin Bieber. I won't forget my clothes. I will be properly dressed.
And not showing up in just your boxers?
See, I was trying to give Justin, I was trying to give Biebs I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He just forgot his clothes.
I don't know.
All he had was his boxers.
Or should we all go boxers? The ratings might go through the roof. Something to think about.
Oh, yeah, they would. All right. Well, Richard, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome, guys.
All right. Speaking of the Super Bowl.
Look at that.
So the threads have been decided. The New England Patriots are the home team for the game in Santa Clara, but they still decided to wear their away all whites. So Seattle is going to go with their home all-college navy. Now, this is really interesting because going back to Super Bowl 34, the team that wears their road unis wins way more often than the other team that wears white.
Do you think they're taking that into consideration, though, that stat?
Maybe.
Yeah, because I will say I'm a little nervous about wearing the white unis.
Okay, for the Patriots?
It just doesn't scream like the Patriots that you know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know.
So I feel like there's always risk in like straying from who you really are.
I know. It's like me rooting for my college team, the Huskies. Every time they show up in white, I'm like, oh, it's a road game. Oh, boy, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But anyway, they've won. The team with the road uniform has won 18 out of 26. I'm no math whiz, Des, but that's like
Those odds are
70%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's who I got my money on. But are you going Seahawks?
Yeah, I just think that defense is for real. But I will just say one thing, and it's a feather in the cap for new coach LaFleur, because, Des, think about this. As good as the Seahawks defense is, when the Rams played the Seahawks, yes, the Seahawks won, but it was in Seattle, so you got to give them a few points, for that. They still put up over 400 yards on that Seahawk defense. We bring that kind of offense to the Cardinals, it will be exciting.
Game on.
So
yeah.
the Seahawks defense can be beat, but they're extremely good. Right?
We'll have to see how it unfolds on Sunday, see if you're right.
Hey, just how about one really cool story here? There was a little baby that Yavapai County deputies honestly were in a life-saving position. Check this story out.
I got him to cry once. He's kind of breathing raggedly.
What's he choking on, do you know?
I spit. My wife was holding him, and all of a sudden he started turning purple and started choking up.
I just continue to have to do the back compressions to get the child to continue to cry. He would cry, and then he'd start to go limp again and stop crying, so I had to continue to do that. I handed the child off to fire, at which point they took the kid, brought him in the back of the ambulance. They said his color was looking good, he was crying. So that was a big relief on us.
Wow. Talk about
incredible.
ending with a good news story. Way to go, Yavapai County Sheriff's Office. The father did tell deputies he'd been trying infant CPR for 15 minutes. But hey,